Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to stop the chitter chatter and get ready for what matters. You know, it's Tuesday Night Fight Talk. My name's Jaya McClain. I'm a former two-time cruiserweight champion of the world, and I'm your host, and this is my show. Now let's go!
When the percolator gets to perking, we know what time it is. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Jerome. Coffee time. Coffee.
How you doing? How you doing? I'm loving it.
I'm outstanding, man. How you, man?
I'm keeping my head above water.
Keeping your head above water. Hey, man, it ain't that much water, so it shouldn't be that hard to do because you're kind of short.
Well, you got to also understand, you know, we got a pandemic going on, and you got to just keep your head above water.
Hey, all day, every day. That's facts. That is facts right there. Like we say, hashtag Rona free. Hello. Yes, sir. So what's been happening, man? What you been doing with yourself, man?
Believe it or not, I got a handful of amateurs that I fell in love with working with, watching them develop. This is the only phase of boxing that I've never taken for myself as a trainer, and because of it, I found a new interest in the game again by teaching the kids what I've learned and what I've did throughout my career, and in doing so, the reward is to watch them, you know, when the coffee is working, it's hot.
Hey, that's what's up, man. That's absolutely what's up. You know, because somebody taught us. And
that's
so
right.
It's only right that we give back, you know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing, man. Now, I will say that you must have the patience of Job because, boy, it's hard. It's hard training these cats these days, man.
You got that right. But when you got kids who are clearly wanting to learn, and those are the only guys I will work with. I don't have time for the guys who you got to babysit and go through all of the things that you know that make you crazy working with them. Some guys, they're worth it because you're trying to save them, but some guys, you just got to do what you got to do.
Yep, I don't blame you right there one bit at all, man. You know, I trained these kids for a long time, and it's a lot of work, man. You know, I just remember that when I was being trained, I had so much respect for my trainer.
Right.
And whatever he said is what it was.
I agree totally. And that's where it's got to be in order to get from point A to point B. Because in this game, you can't play boxing.
Everybody that come on the show say that. You play basketball, you play football, you play hockey, but you can't play boxing.
Better believe it. Every mistake gets you hit.
Hey, man, and sometimes it only take one to get you clipped. That's
right. They can come get you and tell you what happened.
Yeah, man. So, hey, man, let's talk about this amateur career, this stellar amateur career of yours, man, because you had a really good amateur career. Let's talk about it.
I loved amateur boxing. It was the part of my life that even if I stopped doing anything after it, I would have been fine. When I started when I was 14 years old, and when it was me and about 6 other guys. We heard about a gym. Guy had a gym made in the basement of his boarding house. So all 6 of us, we lived in the project. So we got together. We walked together down to his house, and sure enough, he had a gym in the basement of his boarding house, a makeshift gym.
Right.
And so he said to us, he said, "What you guys want?" We said, "Yeah, man, we want to learn how to box." He said, "Man," he said, "you guys, you don't look like you're serious." I said, "No, we serious." He says, "Okay." He sized us up, put us together. We had never boxed a day in our life. He said, "You put on the gloves, you put on the gloves." Gave us sizes, threw us in the ring the very first day, and after we got through doing it, he said, "Okay, I'll see you tomorrow." Well, that went on for a week. Well, it was 6 or 8 of us the first day. But by the end of the week, it was just 2 of them.
Right.
And those are the guys he taught how to fight. And I was one of them.
And where was that?
I was here in Nashville, Tennessee. Guy name was Bob Dixon. He was a good guy. And you know, back then, you know, we didn't have any clue about the fact that, you know, trainers usually have to get something for their time. But this guy worked a lot for free, and he helped a lot of kids. And, you know, and I thought to myself as I got older, whenever I help a kid for free, I do it in his name, you know, because
Right.
he helped a whole lot of us like that.
Yeah, and probably saved a lot of lives.
You better believe it. Well, I tell you, one guy, the guy that we looked up to when we first started, his name was Ronnie Kenza, and Kenza was about a 6'2", 6'3" welterweight, and oh man, and he could fight, tall and like Tommy, and the cat could actually fight, but he loved to shoot dice. That was his thing, shooting dice, and that's how he got killed, shooting dice.
Yeah.
And, you know, but I say that to say this, you know, he saved a lot of us. Some of them he couldn't save, but
right, you can't save everybody, but if you could help one, you've done your job.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did that, and so we were pretty happy with him. But after I left him after a year, and I kind of wandered around because I told him, I said I wanted to be Ali. Muhammad was my man. You know, that's the whole reason I put on gloves.
Right.
And I told him, I said I wanted to learn how to fight like Ali. You too little. I couldn't have been more than about 90 pounds. You too little to fight. I said, well, that's what I want to fight like. Well, he was more interested in guys that were aggressive, and he did real well with teaching those guys. So I kind of moved around and went to another couple of places, and finally bumped into a guy named Clinton Jackson, who was on the world championship team, had won 5 or 6 national titles, and he knew how to win. And he was plugged into all of the guys, the Spinks brothers, Ray Leonard, all those guys. He was plugged into them. They were all traveling, Aaron Pryor and all of them. And I thought to myself, man, these are the guys. Yeah, those are the guys I wanted to be hanging out with, because whatever they was doing was what I wanted to be doing. So I hung out with this Clint Jackson guy, and he got me kind of in the mix. And after a year, I missed the '76 Olympic team, but I learned a great deal after that particular mess up, because I was only 17 years old, and I wasn't quite ready. I started when I was 14. I'd had about 70 fights by then, and you know, I remember listening to your last show, and it was amazing that Griffin was able to make the Olympic team in 30 fights. That's
right.
You know,
Definitely unheard of.
It really is. It's unheard of. I mean, it doesn't happen. I mean, he was one of the few.
Right.
But I tell you, I wasn't ready when I had 70 fights. When but after the '76 Olympic crew, I graduated from high school, and then of course, it came a lot easier for me then, because I focused that next year, and the best thing that ever happened to me was I fought at the National Golden Gloves, and I lost to a guy that grew me up, a guy named Stewart. He was a twin, Tyrone and Jerome Stewart, and he beat me by nice guy. He went out, touched gloves with me. He was one of those good little fighters, for like Ray Leonard. You know, as long as you didn't start nothing, wasn't gonna be nothing. One of those kind of guys. Right.
Don't hit me hard, I ain't gonna hit you hard.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. You hear what I'm talking about. So he unarmed me is what he did, and so sure enough, the bell rang for the last round, and the fight was over, and all I was standing there wondering was, what just happened? All I remember doing was touching gloves with the guy all the time. Yeah. And so sure enough, after that fight, I said to myself, that'll never happen to me again. I won my first national title. That just 2 months later, it was back. You fight in the Golden Gloves, and then you fight in the AU. And the AU was tougher than the Golden Gloves because the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, everybody showed up.
What'd you say first? What'd you say first?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. In that order.
Listen, let me just tell you something about the Marines. Right after I won my first national title, my first trip out of the country was to East Berlin, Germany, during the time of Checkpoint Charlie, the Wall, communism, all of that. I went to East Berlin, Germany, with a Marine sergeant and 3 Marines, J.B. Williamson, Jeff McCracken, and a Samoan heavyweight by the name of Al Coffin, and Roosevelt Sanders was our coach.
Roosevelt Sanders was the coach. Yep.
Yeah, he was a good man.
He was there when I got there.
Yeah, man. He was the best. I won the gold medal in the European Championship over there, and beat Tefilio Stevenson for the most outstanding boxer award. And
really?
Oh man, so I was feeling like Superman. And I met and so when I got back home, of course, living in Nashville, home of the Tennessee State Tiger Bells, Wilma Rudolph, they were making a movie of her, and they was doing their premiere of the movie. And of course, Wilma was in the same Olympics with Muhammad. And so they called me and they talked to me personally. They said, Jerome, we'd like for you to do us a favor. Muhammad Ali's coming to town. Of course, Muhammad's my hero. I've never met him. Didn't even think I'd ever meet him. And so I'm anxious. I'm all over the place. And so sure enough, they say to me, okay, we're going to the airport. We're going to pick him up. He's coming in. They're having Wilma Rudolph's premiere. You're invited. So sure enough, I go out to the airport. I'm trying to figure out, what do I say to my hero? What do you say to your hero? I mean, you're meeting your hero. You know?
We went to a grammar school in Greenwich Village, and we got the kids to write a theme entitled, "What I Would Do If I Could Meet Muhammad Ali." And they came to a classroom to read the theme, and in the back of the room, in coveralls, was the champ himself.
I'm the greatest fighter of all time. Just stopped Joe Frazier. Now I'm gonna whoop George Foreman again.
You wanna fight George Foreman?
I'm gonna whoop them all. You recognize me, man? Yes. Who am I?
Muhammad Ali.
All right, what's happening? Give me a shake. Give me 5. I would give you 30, but your face is too dirty. Are you shocked?
No.
Why are you not shocked? You're not surprised?
You scared me when you came out.
I scared you. I heard you said you want to arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Let's get on. Whoa. I'm leaving. That's enough. That's enough.
So,
right.
So I'm standing there and I'm pacing, and then I hear somebody say, "Who's that kid who thinks he's the latest? Doesn't he know Ali's the greatest?" I turn around and it's Ali. He said, "Put your hands up," and he starts bouncing, and I start bouncing, and oh man, it was amazing.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see 5 seconds in the life of a kid he'll never forget, mixing it up with the champ. How about that? Are you scared?
The cameras were going, the TV was going. It was the most exciting moment in my life at that point. I mean, I was with my hero. He was a wonderful man. He took the time to hang out with me. He listened to me bug him about things I wanted to ask him about. And it turned out to be one of the most exciting times that I'd ever had.
I can imagine, bro. That man has that kind of thing on so many people.
He was amazing, wasn't he?
Man.
He was amazing.
Man, I think the majority of us African-American fighters started boxing because of Muhammad Ali.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I mean, for real.
He was brave. He was all of the things that you would want to be in your life, he was. And, you know, I remember when I went to his funeral and all of, I mean, everybody, monks, Catholics, Muslim, everybody was there. Every denomination that there is in religion was at Muhammad's funeral.
Yep.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I thought that he deserves it. He deserved it, and that was what this was all about. And because I had spent so much time in the amateurs, I had 39 international matches, and 35 of them were in other countries. So I got to see the world as an amateur.
Right.
And you know, those are things that you only dream of. And you know, a kid out of the projects, all of a sudden he's all over the world. All he's got to do is win, and he's on a ticket. He's on the plane to somewhere else. And so it was an exciting moment. So when the boycott happened in 1980, and we didn't get to go to the Olympics, well, you know,
I know you ain't mad.
Let me just tell you something. The box off. So we have a box. No, we don't have a box off.
I know you ain't mad. You didn't get on that plane. Let
me just tell you something. The plane. There was a trip that year to Warsaw, Poland, in 1980, and I said no to that trip because I had won the National Golden Gloves in '79, and I wanted to defend my national title in '80. And so I said no 2 weeks before that particular trip, and the plane crashed, killed all the Americans.
Yep.
Oh man, it broke our hearts. And then of course,
Joe Frazier didn't go. Was that Marvin Frazier? I mean, Marvis Frazier.
Yeah, Marvis. Yeah, Marvis didn't take that trip.
Go right. Yep.
Yeah, well, Marvis and I won the National Golden Gloves together in '79. And you know, it was an exciting time. Winning national titles was the thing to do back in my era, and winning them made you as legit as you could possibly be because you were the best fighter in the country at your weight division.
Right. And so I a lot of times I compare you. Well, not compare you, but I look at your amateur career, and then I look at your pro career. And I see a lot of Howard Davis comparisons.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Amateur, a good pro, but just never grabbed that belt.
Well, you know, as I got older, I found out what really happened about the belt. My chief sparring partner, a guy named Kevin Seabrooks, who actually did win the belt, my manager went behind my back and gave him the shot at the title that was supposed to be mine.
Right.
Yeah, but you know, that's the nature of the business. You know, you do what you got to do, and I remember thinking to myself when I got to the finals of the Olympic trials, and I fought Sandoval, and they gave me a funny decision. Yeah. And I thought the first guy I thought about was Montel Griffin, because if Montel, if they would have let the guy who wins the Olympic trials go to the Olympics, Montel never would have made the Olympic team. Same thing for Vernon Forrest. If Vernon Forrest had to go by what they called at the Olympic trials, Vernon Forrest wouldn't, because Shane Mosley beat him at the Olympic trial. Right. Same thing with Floyd Mayweather when he fought Augie Sanchez at the Olympic. You see where I'm going? So the guy that wins the Olympic trials isn't the guy that makes the Olympics. He's got to win the box off. Right. And there was no box off. So I still say I would have been on the Olympic team. Right.
Right. I mean, well, like I said, you got that Olympian pedigree and that background. I mean, look at all the cats you've been around, all the legends you've been around, all the guys you sparred, you fought. I mean, that who was that?
I had 205. I had 205 amateur fights, and I had the fewest of everybody on my team. I had the fewest of the national champions.
Yeah, that's crazy right there.
Oh, it was amazing. I came up with a host of quality competition and world-class fighters. And because of that, you know, we all rubbed off on one another. You know, we just kept each other honest all the time.
Hey man, well, I tell you one thing, bro. You look good because you old.
Yes. You
Hey,
got that right.
look,
I'm
when
not
you
even
fought-
acting like I'm not. I
Hey.
just turned 62 about a month ago.
Oh man, that's a blessing, bro. You got me by 10.
Yeah, I'm feeling 62 too. Whatever that feels like, I feel it.
Hey, but look, man, whenever you have lived in two different eras of boxing where you were fighting 15 rounds and then you went to fighting 12 rounds, I mean, you've been in the game for a minute.
Yeah, no, you know, that's what's amazing. The 15 rounders, those were in the 80s when we were fighting in the 80s. I turned pro in 1980, and I fought guys. It's like Kevin Seabrooks. He fought for the world title. He won the title. That was after I beat him. I beat him inside my first 10 fights, and then they called me to fight, last minute fight. They brought the guy in, and he was a guy named Freddie Pendleton. I had to spot him 15 pounds the morning of the fight because you weighed in the morning. I spotted him that morning, 15 pounds, and then I beat him, and he turns out and he stops my friend Roger Mayweather for the championship of the world.
Yep. That was crazy.
Good fighter. We
So
all
let me ask
fought.
you this.
I'm sorry.
Let me ask you this. What was the biggest difference from when you was fighting 15 rounds to when they changed it and you start fighting 12 rounds?
I think the difference was the real guys showed up for the 15 rounders. A lot of there was only maybe a handful of guys in today's time that would have been fine in the 15 round era. There's only a handful of them now, and that says a lot for me when I think about some of these guys today that fight 12 rounds and they look like they just trying to get through it. The fight, you got another 3-round international world championship fight coming up after the 12th round, and
Right.
if you can't pull that off, most fighters won or lost the fight in those rounds.
Right. That's where it became those championship rounds.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't gonna front, man. I ain't mad I ain't have to fight 15 rounds.
Yeah, no. Let me tell you something. I lost 12 pounds in that fight. I remember I fought the Finnick in his country, and I lost.
Distance.
I'm
You
sorry.
went distance with him.
Yeah. Well, listen. First of all, when they tell me, they say, okay, they file a lawsuit to get me the title fight. I was the #1 contender. The champion wouldn't fight me. He went and fought a guy named Jeff Finnick. I never heard of him. And sure enough, they said, okay, the Finnick knocked the champ out from Japan. You got to go to Australia. I said, I got to go to Australia? Yeah, you got to go to Australia. Okay, so I get myself together. I go to Australia, and morning of the weigh-in, I get a phone call telling me, don't worry about it. The weigh-in's going to be relaxed. Don't worry about it. I said, what are you talking about? You don't have to wait. You don't have to weigh in to 10 o'clock. I said, weigh-in's at 9. No, it's not to 10 for you. Don't worry. So sure enough, he weighs in at 9 o'clock on some scales, and then 10 o'clock they got some more scales, and so the IBF said to him, we're going to do this fight, but if you win the decision, then the title goes up for grabs, because you don't get to weigh when you want to weigh. We don't on your own scales and all that. The fighting business started is what happened.
Right.
So sure enough, but before that fight, a week and a half before the fight, they found the tape of my opponent. Back then you couldn't get nothing but an 8-track. And it was 8-track.
Right.
8-track tape. That was it.
Yeah.
So I finally get an 8-track tape about a week before the fight, and it's 8 minutes long. They show me his all of his fights and the tape is 8 minutes long, he knocked everybody out. No, nobody goes the distance. He's undefeated, and he's knocked everybody out. So I said to
Jeff Fennick was a bad man.
Oh, he was. I got to give it to him. He was a bad man. Otherwise, even though I spotted him whatever weight he weighed, I don't know what he weighed, but
Right.
whatever he weighed, I got to give it to him, because there was a few rounds that I hit him clean, and he weathered it. He weathered it well. So you know, he did a good job. He did 15 rounds. It was his first 15 rounder. He had never went past 9 rounds, because he had knocked everybody out before 9.
Right. Wow.
So it was an exciting 15-round fight.
Coffee on the road. Oh, brilliant fight this thing. The contest is all over. It's all over. And we here at the commentary position, Barry Michael, Joe Bugner and I will be no surprised if Jeff Fennick does not get the decision.
By unanimous decision, retaining his International Boxing Federation Bantamweight Championship of the World, Jeff Fennick.
Yes, a unanimous decision in favor of Jeff Fennick. So Jeff Fennick is still the Bantamweight Champion of the world.
I'm just so happy. That's the hardest fighter I've ever fought, the best by far.
I remember in the 9th round, I reminded him what round he was in. Then in the 10th round, I made sure that I went right out and went after him. Won the round big, but I wasted a lot of energy. And the next 2 rounds, I thought I won those 2, but not with the dominance that I dominated in the 10th round. But it was a tactical fight, and I thought I put enough numbers on the board in terms of winning rounds.
Right.
But you can't win. I wasn't going to beat him a decision in Australia.
Especially right in Australia. So would you say that was your biggest fight?
No, well, I think I fought 8
Kennedy
world
McKinney
champions.
and Wayne McCullough?
Yeah, I fought a lot of world champions. I fought 8 world champions, and the truth is, I beat 3 of them before they became world champions. And you know, and that part of it is a part of what keeps me feeling pretty comfortable with the fact that I was a legitimate guy, because you know, I didn't duck anybody. And back in the 80s, the good fighters fought the good fighters, and you know, and that was really what boxing was all about to me. You know, if you were the guy, then let's do this. And so, I mean, you got that belt. You know what that was about. You got to show up. Either show up or shut up.
Right. I know that's right, man.
Yeah.
Look, man, I ain't gonna hold you, man. I just wanted to get on here, man, and just, you know, put some shine on, shed a little light on you, man, and you and your career, because I realized how impactful you were in the game back then, man. And, you know, even the fights that you may have lost or didn't get the decision, it was a lot of lessons being taught in those moments.
You better believe it.
On both sides.
That is what. That's right. That's right. It had you know, the most of the times that I learned the most was in defeat. And I tell you, the thing that I learned most about life is that you know, if you get knocked down 6 times, you got to get up 7.
Yep.
You know, it is what it is. So, you know, that's kind of what life has been like for me. And so I just kind of keep getting up and seeing what's next.
Yes, sir. And now you're helping the kids, so that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I get a lot of excitement out of that. But I tell you what's more exciting than anything was when I went to shoot a game of golf with you, and I was looking forward to it too. Because I was going to eat you alive on that golf course. I felt like.
But what happened?
Well, I think I got sabotaged. I was watching the big boys. The big boys all had cigars, and so you gave me one of those. I don't even know what the name of it was, but it was a nice cigar. It was in its own case.
It was an Opus X.
Yeah, man. It was top of the line, whatever it was.
Yeah, and it came in that little box. That Opus X.
Yeah, man.
It cost about $125.
Well, you told me you gave me something nice. So here I was doing like you, and every time I saw you do something with one, I tried to do the same thing. I didn't know I needed directions. I tell you what, it was the funnest time that I've had in my life. It's the first time I ever smoked a cigar, and it was the last time I ever smoked a cigar.
Oh man, you had me rolling, boy. You had me rolling. But
I didn't know you could get drunk smoking a cigar.
Yeah, man, that's because you were probably inhaling and just doing it all wrong.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. Right. I was in trouble.
Yeah,
I thought I was going to need an 8 count by the 12th. We got to the 12th hole. I thought I was going to need an 8 count.
Hey, I learned something in my boxing career. Stack the cards when you can.
You showed shuffle them right on me. Me and that cigar, we didn't see each other ever again after that.
Well, that's all right, man. Hey, man, look, man, I appreciate it, man. If you got, like you said, you're training kids now. You might want to shout out, let people know where they can find you, what you're doing. If you got a number, you got a social media, or what gym you at, or whatever it is that you want to do. Just right now, you got a platform. Go ahead and let them know. Well,
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee now, and you can get me on Facebook, or you can get me by email, ejcoffee2@gmail.com.
Okay, and on Facebook, what is it?
Jerome Coffee. Just befriend me. I'm Jerome Coffee on Facebook, and see if you can make something happen. Because it's always coffee time.
Yes, sir. Keep that coffee percolating, man. You keep your hands up and stay on your feet, champ.
You too, brother. It's always good to see you. And please get in touch with me and let me know when we can play another game of golf.
Okay, we'll do it. I'll make sure I bring some cigars.
Sounds good. Talk to you.
All right, champ. Take it easy, man.
All right.
All right, peace.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Yaya, and I'm the host of the show. And like my mama always says, that's it and that's all. Until next week, y'all. Hey, next week and every Tuesday Night Fight Talk, where legends come to talk boxing. Hit the subscribe, tell a friend, and share.
Gotta stay focused, I will not lose. I got the mind of a champ, undefeated like the champ. Well respected when you see me. The street treat me like a champ. Got my weight right like the champ. Champ, 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 champ.